Hello everyone, I am a 40-year-old guy, and my wife Hannah is a 38-year-old woman. We had been married for 5 years. Before our marriage, Hannah worked as a pole dancer at a nearby club. I'm a writer, and I was working on my novel at the time. So I went to a club to chill and get some inspiration for writing a scene. I was blown away by my wife Hannah's performance. Her dance skills were so flawless, and she was wearing a red bikini. She was dancing as though no one was there. I was mesmerized by her dance moves. Her toned body was moving in accordance with the music. I was hypnotized and realized that I wanted her in my life. I waited for 4 hours for her shift to end, and when she came to sit at a table to relax, I gathered my courage and approached her, and went over to chat with her. She was a little harsh at first because she mistook me for a guy who would harass her. She was accustomed to dealing with strange men, so I could see why she was cautious, but I introduced myself and explained why I had been waiting for her for so long and how her dance had mesmerized me. We struck up a conversation once she became a little more at ease. She was a chatty woman who enjoyed reciting poetry aloud in the middle of normal conversation. I enjoyed listening to her deep conversations. Then we exchanged numbers and soon began dating. After dating for over a year, I proposed to her. She was surprised when I proposed to her because no one had ever done so before because of her profession. She had assumed that she would never find a husband because most guys were only interested in sleeping with her and judged her based on her profession, because I'm a writer and I value art. I didn't give a damn about her reputation, her provocative attire, or her bold dance moves because, for me, dance was an art form. I was simply captivated by her personality and artistic talent. Hannah said yes to my proposal, so we were married. My father didn't attend the wedding because of his concerns about her line of work. Instead, he wanted me to marry a doctor or a teacher. I did not pressure him into coming since I could not allow him to disrespect my wife's career. My mom and my siblings were supportive of my marriage. Hannah was a tall, beautiful, intelligent woman who worked at a bar at night and slept all day. As a writer, I followed almost same schedule. I would write at night, and Hannah would assist me to write different passages during our time together. We were not a traditional couple, and our lifestyles were rather unique. My former friends would visit the club where Hannah was working. They would tease her, and then question my honor because they knew I had married a dancer. I had broken connections with my friends due to their unpleasant behavior toward my wife, and I asked Hannah to join a local theater and perform there since at her club most people knew us. And they were making derogatory remarks about us and making a mockery of me for getting married to a pole dancer. Hannah refused to leave the bar and advised me to be courageous and self-assured if I decided to marry her because she was used to receiving such nasty remarks and wouldn't change her line of work. Because of some losers, I didn't mean to disparage her profession, but she interpreted it that way. The first few years of our marriage were wonderful. We were deeply in love and no longer gave a damn about anyone else. Due to the fact that traditional couples didn't ask us to their celebrations and the fact that we had a different work schedule from them, we had created our own lives. And we would visit theaters and cinemas to watch plays and comedies, and we would go to late-night comedy shows. Hannah had friends from the bar. The majority of them were dancers or bartenders. On the other hand, I didn't have many friends because my old friends had revealed their true selves. As a result, whenever we threw birthday or anniversary parties, my siblings didn't show up because they didn't think they fit in with the other dancers and bartenders. My brother even bluntly told me that by being married to a dancer, I had wrecked my life, since my wife had a job that required her to be in public, so she had no sense of shame. My brother informed me that because he didn't think of Hannah as a family woman and that she frequently wore short bikinis and skirts whenever he came to visit me, he was attracted to her. I was so furious with my brother for what he said about my wife that I told him never to come back. Our lives were going along quite fine till one day Hannah came home crying. She told me that some wealthy men had come into the bar and had tried to touch her inappropriately while she was dancing. She felt harassed, and the club's management had done nothing to protect her. Hannah told me she was interested in joining a theater company to promote her talent. The next day, we hired an Indian man named Arjun as a choreographer to teach Hannah new dance moves and various other dance styles. He was teaching her Kathak and hip-hop dancing. Hannah was already a skilled pole dancer and belly dancer. Arjun was a young 30-years-old man who was incredibly nice and comfortable with our way of life, unlike my brother and friends. He respected art, and he never treated me or my wife Hannah with disrespect. He would visit our home to teach Hannah dance lessons. She picked it up quickly and her moves were steadily getting better. I noticed that Hannah would practice dancing with Arjun while wearing short bras and tights, which made me think of my brother's remarks regarding Hannah's appearance. I decided to warn her and spoke with her. Hannah was quite sensitive about her career and herself, so when I asked her to dress appropriately, she didn't take it well. She began to cry and called me an average man and a skeptic. I apologized and assured her that I wasn't doubtful and that I was only asking her to be cautious. Hannah didn't take my remark well and requested that Arjun discontinue teaching dance at our home. Instead, she started visiting his dancing studio. She also informed me that because she wasn't working anymore, she could simply visit the studio to practice. I accepted her decision and used the opportunity to work on writing my novels because it was easier for me to write when no one was around and the music wasn't blasting in my ears. So I used that time to work on writing my novels. Hannah had begun to spend a lot of time in Arjun's studio. She would return in the night and inform me that she needed to put in more practice time because her audition was coming. Our 5th wedding anniversary was approaching, and we didn't have many people to celebrate it with, so I decided to surprise my wife at 12 a.m. when she was still at Arjun's dance studio, thinking we'd celebrate with Arjun. I drove to Arjun's dance studio after picking up my wife's favorite flower and ordering her favorite chocolate cake. I arrived there expecting the studio to be bustling with activity. But it was a dark, empty place. I entered through a narrow staircase, and when I reached the first floor, the reception area was deserted. However, the desk, the phone, and the food indicated that someone had been there earlier but had since left, most likely to use the restroom. As a result, I went inside rather than waiting in the lobby. The first room was a vast hall that was probably used for dancing, but it was unoccupied, so I passed by it to see if there were any other rooms for practicing dance. However, when I entered the other room, I was startled to discover that it was a little bedroom and that my wife and Arjun were there engaged in the act. When they saw me there, they were shocked and Arjun shouted and demanded to know how the receptionist could have permitted you to enter. I replied that no one was at the reception. Arjun and my wife were not expecting to see me in the spare bedroom, and I was horrified to see them there. I was furious and punched and kicked Arjun in the face as he was bleeding. My wife Hannah was pleading with me to stop. I left after throwing the flowers and cake I had brought for my wife as a surprise on our anniversary. Later that night, my wife returned home shamelessly, but I forbade her entry and told her to leave. Update: it took me months to finish the divorce process, but when I eventually delivered my wife the divorce papers, she had a complete meltdown. She called me an average man. She sobbed and I could have excused her for one mistake. I warned her to shut up, and I told her that infidelity was a sin and a deal breaker, that there could be no marriage without trust, and that cheating can never be an accident. I admitted to her that I had married her against the wishes of my entire family and society, and that although I had bestowed upon her the title of wife and shown her respect, she lacked grace. She never expressed regret for cheating or any sense of shame about it, and instead chooses to act as if it didn't matter. Arjun was taking advantage of her and was using her exclusively for his own pleasures. He has left her and his studio has shut down since I reported about it. My wife is back to dancing in the same club. She didn't try out for any theater jobs. When her mother contacted me, she told me that although Hannah is not happy after her divorce, she is too egotistical to apologize. I don't even need her apologies, nor do I care about her happiness anymore. I've been seeing my parents and old friends, and they are pleased with my decision to divorce Hannah. I didn't tell them the real reason for our divorce, but it doesn't matter, because I'm happy now, no matter how much love, respect, or legal status you bestow onto some women. It will never be enough for them. Perhaps you would criticize me for marrying her, but I was so in love that I was unable to foresee her betraying me in such a way. Maybe my brother, friends, and father were better at assessing her character than I was. Thank you for listening to my story. Please subscribe to this channel and like my story. Please comment below and let me know what you think of my story. To grow this channel, we require your support. We highly appreciate you here. A wonderful day to you.